Oh, sorry, I was muted when I was saying that I was here. Real quick. Hi, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
My internet's been awful lately at home. When we're doing the legislation, so we're not all over the place like we were at last meeting, whenever somebody moves for one, can I just go ahead and just say it right after that? That way there's no...
Yeah, we need a first and a second.
Yeah.
If it's 1, 2, 3. And then roll call. We don't always have a roll call. If
Right.
just base all in favor. And then, you read it and then it can go into discussion. That's normally how it goes.
Is that how you want it? Okay.
Yeah.
Just that way it'll be easier, because I feel like I'm doing it different every time, and I'd rather just be a smooth thing every time. So do you want to do, someone will offer it, someone will second, and then I'll read it, and then it can go into discussion,
Yes.
and then Mary, you could...
That's normal.
Does that work?
Ready to go.
Mayor, for you?
The church bells are ringing and the hymns are going to start, so it's 6.
You guys ready to get started?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, welcome to our special meeting of Thursday, June 25th, 2020. It is 6:01 p.m. Ms. Traska, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Grant?
Here.
Mr. Finley?
Here.
Mr. Garvis?
Here.
Ms. Tully?
Here.
And Mr. Ventura?
Here.
Okay, first up, we're going to start with ordinance number 41, 2020.
I move to offer ordinance 41, 2020 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
An emergency ordinance accepting the dedication of certain areas of real property for the right-in, right-out access drive into and out of the crossings at Golden Link Shopping Center.
Mark, you want to take this one?
Sure. So there is an exhibit to this. As you can see, it's the dedication plat reflecting the 225-foot strips of land that both Culvers and Cutlick have dedicated to the city. And that is currently actually in the process of being recorded. The only difference between the exhibit you have and what was sent down, it also has Kevin Westbrooks, the chairman of the Planning Commission's signature on it, as Planning Commission also approved it last Monday. And this basically gives us the ownership of the land so that we can move forward with the project.
Thank you. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, what is your pleasure?
I move to adopt ordinance 41, 2020 and post the same according to law.
Sorry, second.
Roll call?
Ms. Brandt?
Yes.
Mr. Finley?
Yes.
Mr. Garvis?
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
And Mr. Ventura?
Yes.
Ordinance 41 passes. Ordinance number 42, 2020.
I'd like to offer ordinance number 42, 2020 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
An emergency ordinance to provide for the issuance and sale of not to exceed $575,000 of bond anticipation notes of the City of Macedonia, Ohio, in anticipation of the issuance of bonds to pay the property owner's portion of the cost in anticipation of the levy and collections of special assessments related to the construction of a right-in, right-out access road off the State Route 8 to provide ingress and egress to the crossings at Golden Link Shopping Center, together with all necessary appurtenances and related improvements thereto.
Thank you. Director Veras, do you want to talk about the financials here?
Thank you, Mayor. What we're doing here is obviously borrowing money up to a total of $575,000. I don't think we'll get there, but you have to make sure your ceiling's high enough. 98% of this will be assessed to the property owners over a 20-year period. And we'll have legislation next year to accept the bonding of this project and the 20-year cycle payback.
And just to be clear, the cost to the city is what?
2% of, so a maximum of, say, $12,000.
And it's important to note also that the property owners are funding, obviously, the great majority of this, and our piece in this is very nominal, but we all appreciate and know that this is something very well needed and extremely safety oriented that is a long time coming, and we definitely need. Any other discussion? Hearing none, what is your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 42, 2020, please.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Brandt,
Yes.
Mr. Finley,
Yes.
Mr. Garvis,
Yes.
Ms. Tully,
Yes.
Mr. Ventura.
Yes.
Ordinance 42 passes. Next up is ordinance number 34.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 34, 2020 for its second and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a contract with CA Agresta Construction for the right-in, right-out access drive into and out of the crossings at Golden Link Shopping Center.
Mr. Gelati, it's your turn, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. As we discussed at the last virtual council meeting, you may remember through the public bidding process, we identified CA Agresta as the lowest and best bid for the construction of the right-in, right-out access drive. As such, we're recommending Agresta for this contract and ask for a third reading tonight, which we're going to have. And with passage of this, we'll reach out to Agresta as early as tomorrow to begin the process.
Thank you. Director
Mayor.
Good.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'd just like to add to that. We're about 3/4 of the way through the special assessment process right now. After Agresta completes the project, we'll basically have an understanding of what the final costs are, and then we'll have a piece of legislation presented to council that's actually the assessment ordinance to finalize this assessment process. Just as a courtesy, we'll probably send out some letters to the property owners just to give them an update on the process, since it's been a couple months since they last heard from us.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, what is your pleasure?
I ask that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 34, 2020, please.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Brandt,
Yes.
Mr. Finley,
Yes.
Mr. Garvis,
Yes.
Ms. Tully,
Yes.
and Mr. Ventura.
Yes.
Ordinance number 34 passes. Moving on to ordinance number 43.
I'd like to make a motion to add ordinance number 43, 2020 to the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
All right. So I'd like to make a motion to waive the 48-hour legislation notice requirement for ordinance number 43, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, I would like to offer ordinance number 43, 2020 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Jason Chaddock. I'm sorry, is that correct? Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure I pronounced it correctly. As the Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Macedonia.
So Mr. Chaddock is with us this evening. I can tell you that we went through an extensive search and multiple interviews, and Mr. Chaddock was definitely the candidate that we thought would be the best fit for us. I will also add that Ms. Brandt was a part of the interview process along with Annette Smith, our HR director, and we all felt unanimously that out of the folks that we had interviewed, that Mr. Chaddock was the best fit for us. We had a lot of talks. If you read over his resume, you'll notice that he is currently living in Colorado. He did fly in to meet with us. We did go through all of our facilities. We talked about a lot of different things. And again, I think he's the best fit for us. And he's here with us this evening. So Mr. Chaddock, if you'd like to introduce yourself and say a little bit about yourself, I would definitely appreciate that.
Sure. Thank you very much, Mayor and Council. Thanks for having me on today. Just an honor to be here with you guys. And, you know, certainly technology has changed for us in the last several months, and we're working in a COVID environment that's allowed me to actually join you from a couple states away. Again, my name is Jason Chaddock, and I am currently a recreation manager in the city of Fort Collins, and my family and I originate from Ohio. So this was one of the unique opportunities that presented itself, and being a Parks and Rec director has always been a goal of mine. So this was certainly an eye-opening opportunity when it came along, and we are really excited about the opportunity to return home to the state of Ohio. As Urban Meyer would say, the great state of Ohio. I got to throw in my Ohio State plug there. Be noted, though, I am a Bowling Green State University graduate with a degree in recreation and tourism, and then several years later got my master's degree in recreation and sports management from Ohio University. And from that point, I've been very fortunate in my career to travel to Colorado and also Texas, once again back to Colorado, and serve as a recreation manager, leisure services manager in various roles that I've had in fairly large communities, overseeing multiple recreation centers and other park amenities. So it's been quite a whirlwind of experience and background, if you will, going back to my early days when I was in college lifeguarding, all the way up through being an aquatics coordinator to supervising fitness and aquatics, and into facility management. Leadership roles have been the mainstay of my career, and certainly I enjoy the leadership role that I get to have within recreation. Really looking forward to the opportunity to become a Parks and Rec director, have that leadership role, be able to build with a city, and certainly service the community that we work and live in. So excited for this, and look forward to meeting everyone in person.
And I would also add that he's coming from a community of 170,000 residents to our 12. So I think with that type of experience, it's going to be interesting for him. And we talked a lot about what he's doing currently. And Mr. Chaddock, you did mention to us that you're currently running 2 recreation centers plus sports and other things.
Yeah, I'm currently overseeing 2 recreation centers, a farm, and our sports programs for the entire community, both indoor and outdoor sports activities.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Chaddock? Hearing none, what is your pleasure?
I move we passed ordinance number 43, 2020 and post the same according to law.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Brandt,
Yes.
Mr. Finley,
Yes.
Mr. Garvis,
Yes.
Ms. Tully,
Yes.
and Mr. Ventura.
Yes, and welcome aboard, Mr. Chaddock.
Thank you,
I
Council.
look forward to meeting everyone.
Thank you, Council, for passing this. I know, we had to waive the 48-hour rule. It's just very recently that we got, the go-ahead or the contract only. We're very happy to have Mr. Chaddock on board with us. Will be a phenomenal addition to the city, and I know he's going to make this council proud and make the city proud. And thank you, Mayor, for all the hard work you put into it. And I also want to really thank Annette Smith for all the work that she did, getting to know Jason and helping get him on board. So thanks again to the rest of the council for getting this passed. It's really important, and it's going to be a great fit.
And I also
Thank
want to
Jessica for representing the residents as well as city council. Welcome, Jason. We may only be a town of 12, but we also lead to 4 other towns. So you get not as big as Cleveland, but we'll have challenges.
And I also want to thank council. I think he's going to be an amazing addition to our team. And I also want to thank the Parks and Recreation Board. If you did not know, we did reach out to them for their opinion and advice when we were doing the interview process to ask for questions. And they did supply us with a large number of questions, which Mr. Chaddock can attribute to that we put them through the ringer, and everyone went through the ringer, but he definitely impressed us. So I thank you again for your time, and that's all we've got for the evening, unless anything else you guys want to add.
I think we got an extra vote there in Jessica's lap.
Grady says yes.
He's got a grin.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Good night. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you. Appreciate it, everyone.